Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's Your Author program. My name is Madeline Peña, Principal Librarian, and I am here today with my colleague Jennifer Ciron, and she's a Senior Librarian. We both work for the Community Engagement and Outreach Department here at the Los Angeles Public Library.
It is our pleasure to host the Your Author series today. Please feel free to use the chat box to communicate your thoughts, comments, and any questions throughout the program. We will be answering your questions at the end of the program. Also, don't forget to email ecdept@lapl.org to be entered into an opportunity drawing to win a copy of today's book, The Creature of Habit, by Jennifer E. Smith and illustrated by Leo Espinosa. In today's Your Author program, author Jennifer E. Smith and illustrator Leo Espinosa will discuss their new book, The Creature of Habit. Jennifer is the author of 9 books for young adults, including The Statistical Probability of Love at First Sight and Hello, Goodbye, and Everything in Between, both of which have recently been adapted for film.
Leo is an award-winning illustrator and designer from Bogotá, Colombia, whose work has been featured internationally in a variety of publications, products, animated series, and gallery shows. His illustrations for Island Born, the New York Times bestseller written by Juno Diaz, received a Pura Belpré honor. Leo also created the beautiful artwork for the Los Angeles Libros Festival. So thank you, Leo.
We also want to thank our generous donors, the Lenore S and Bernard A. Greenberg Fund and the Library Foundation, for helping the library bring these amazing author and illustrator programs. And now, for what we've all been waiting for, please welcome Jennifer and Leo.
Yay! I mean, everybody's clapping at home. Yay!
Oh, hi. Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
We're thrilled.
Thank you so much, Jennifer and Leo, for taking the time to be here with us today. It's wonderful to have you here. We'll get to know more about you and your creative process and your work with the Creature of Habit. I have the book right here with me. So let's start by sharing your book with us.
The Creature of Habit. On the island of Habit, there lived a creature. He had very big teeth and very big eyes and very, very big feet.
Every day, the creature did exactly the same thing in the exact same order. First, he ate 3 pineapples and 2 bananas. Then he walked down to the water to say hello to the fish. Hello, fish. After that, he went looking for shells, but he kept only the very best ones. Next, he said hello to the trees. Hello, trees. And the rocks, hello rocks, and the crab who lived under the rocks. Hello, crab. When it was time for dinner, he ate 3 more pineapples and 2 more bananas.
Then he brushed his teeth and went to bed. Every day was exactly the same, which was just how the creature liked it.
Of course. Then one morning, he spotted a boat. It was a very small boat, and it was carrying a very small creature. He had very small teeth, and very small eyes, and very, very small feet.
Nobody had ever visited the island before, and the very big creature couldn't wait to show his new friend how everything worked. He taught him how to collect pineapples and bananas and how to say hello to the fish. Hello, fish. Hello, fish. He showed him how to find all the very best shells and when to eat his dinner and brush his teeth and go to bed.
The next morning, the very big creature woke up excited to do it all over again, just like he did every day. But the very small creature was nowhere to be found. When he finally appeared, he was excited to start the day too. Only instead of eating 3 pineapples and 2 bananas, he ate 1 single coconut.
Instead of saying hello to the fish, he went for a swim with them. And instead of collecting shells, he collected, well, everything else.
When it got dark, the very small creature didn't eat dinner or brush his teeth or go to bed. He just sat on the beach and looked at the stars. Watching him, the very big creature's very big eye began to twitch. This wasn't how things were done on the island of Habit. There was supposed to be a schedule, a routine, an order to things. Otherwise, anything could happen.
For the next week, the very big creature kept an eye on the very small creature. Some days, the very small creature made sandcastles after breakfast, and some days he stood on his head before dinner. Some days he slept in, and some days he stayed up late. Some days he did nothing at all.
It was absolute madness.
Then one morning, as the very big creature was eating his breakfast, the very small creature offered him an orange. The very big creature looked at it carefully. It was smaller than a pineapple and rounder than a banana. It was something he'd never tried before. And it was pretty good, but not as good as a pineapple.
Afterward, he noticed the very small creature saying hello to the clouds. The very big creature had said hello to a lot of things. The trees and the rocks and the crab who lived under the rocks, but never the clouds. He thought about giving it a try, but he didn't want to miss his appointment with the fish. Later, the very small creature found some treasures on the beach. And even though he was meant to be looking for shells, the very big creature was secretly happy when he found a treasure too.
The day was almost done. It was time to eat dinner and brush their teeth and go to bed. But the very small creature had other plans. The very big creature watched him go, thinking about all the unusual things that had happened that day, the orange and the clouds and the treasures on the beach.
Oh, the very big creature sat down. Then he stood up again, his very big heart beating very, very fast. Finally, he decided to follow the very small creature.
The very big creature had never been out at this hour before. Everything looked different. The sky was full of color, and the sun, as round as an orange, was disappearing into the water. He knew this wasn't where he was supposed to be right now, but as the world turned from pink to orange to purple all around him, he wondered if maybe it actually was.
Later, they would eat dinner and brush their teeth and go to bed. And tomorrow, there would be time to stick to the schedule, if they wanted to. After all, anything could happen. But for now, the sky was beginning to perform yet another magic trick. Together, they sat and watched it change. Hello, stars. Hello, stars. The end.
The end.
Oh my God, what a beautiful story.
Thank you.
Thank
So,
you.
so much to learn from the both creatures. Just beautiful. Thank you. The illustrations, the sunset and the stars, everything's so beautiful. So let's begin the questions. So we have a series of questions, but we like to remind those watching at home that they can, add their questions to the chat or the comment area, and we'll ask them towards the end of the program. But our first question is, what sparked the idea for the Creature of Habit, and what was the publishing process like? The journey to get this book, make it a reality.
So this is my first picture book, and really it came about because I have a little nephew who I'm very close with. My nephews, one of who's sort of the creature of habit, of the big guy, and one's kind of the little guy, and the older one was having a very hard time with changing. He loved school. He was having a hard time. He had changed classrooms and all of a sudden wasn't wanting to go and was just getting upset every day. And I was talking to my sister about it, who wasn't sure what to do. And I said, the poor kid, it's not his fault. He comes from a long line of creatures of habit. And I was sort of, thinking about that, turning the phrase over and just thinking about how many of us, whether you're a kid or an adult, have a hard time with change. It's really, it kind of doesn't matter what age you are. It's always a hard thing. And I am a card carrying creature of habit, and I still struggle with it. So that's kind of where the spark of it came from. I wanted to play around with the idea that all uncertainty doesn't have to necessarily be a bad thing. And sorry, and I have another creature habit, my dog.
Talking about uncertainty.
Yeah, speaking of, but that all uncertainty doesn't have to be a bad thing. That sometimes stepping off the path and doing something a little bit different can be a good thing. So that's really where it started. And then I feel like I won the lottery getting paired up with Leo. Our wonderful editor, Lee Wade, at Random House Studio, when we were looking at portfolios of illustrators, she kind of sent me a list, and we very quickly decided Leo was our first choice. And she said, he's really busy and everybody wants to work with him, and it's probably a long shot, but let's try it. And we heard back from him the next day, and it was just truly, I feel so lucky that we got paired up together, and it proceeded from there.
Me too. I feel super lucky that Lee called me to work on your story, because I've been looking forward to something like this for a while, where there is a big story to be that one can actually solve with very small amount of elements. It was a beautiful challenge, and I loved it from the beginning. Whoa, I forgot one thing in terms of the process. So what happens is, after I received the manuscript, all illustrators, we worked on sketches, send them back to the editor for revisions. And after that, we do a little bit more changes. Then we go to color. We produce little dummies of the book, just to get an idea of the colors and the pagination and the design and the type and the font size. Everything works well, and then it goes to production. Seems super simple, but it takes months and months and months of work.
It takes months. Publishing is such a slow process, and I've worked as an editor. I've worked at an agency. I've published middle grade. I've published YA. I was still sort of unprepared for the pace of picture books. But when you see the finished product and see how gorgeous it is, and think about the fact that Leo literally has to create like a work of art for every 3 lines that I write, you can sort of see why it takes a while. And then it's always exciting to get a finished copy of your book, but I've never been as excited with this one. It's just such a beautiful object, in addition to a beautifully illustrated story.
We were talking so much about like the book design, when you see the front, this area here, you see the pineapple and the 2 bananas, and then how you have the orange added here in the back. It's so beautiful. We were talking about the color palette. Do you work together for it, Leo? It's just you presented it?
I worked together with the designer, with the art director for the book. And in this case, I would say that the whole situation that COVID created, where everybody was working from home, actually made the making of the book a little easier and more relaxed, because I would get into these long conversations with the designer about the things that I imagined for the book and new ideas, and we just went back and forth and really tweaked it to what I would say very close to perfection. We were both really excited, and I don't know if you noticed also the case cover is the lush island of Habit.
It is a work of art. We went Prince.
So much fun to do. So much fun.
Yes.
So the collaboration with the publisher in that regard, with this specific book, was a dream, an absolute dream. And I guess the results are they speak for themselves. Yeah.
Well, and the only thing I told in terms of the illustrations, the only thing I said to the publisher was, I want the creature to be ridiculously adorable. And it's still, to me, the fact that you could have, given a manuscript like this to, 10 different illustrators, there was no guidance about what these creatures looked like. And I still sort of amazed, anybody would have drawn it a different way. But then the first day that Leo read the manuscript, he did this little sketch of the characters, and they stayed fairly close to that. And it just, as a non-artistic person, as a non-visually artistic person, it boggled my mind that you could read that and that you would have such a clear vision of what what these guys looked like. And
Thank
they turned
you.
out ridiculously adorable.
They are. We behind the scenes we keep telling Leo and Jennifer, if you ever create stuffed animals out of the characters, please, we want to be the first ones to test them.
Yeah, they'll be at the library first.
And they have to be ridiculously large, just like
Pillows.
Taking notes.
well. And it's amazing how you were saying how Jennifer, how you just gave a written description, and then Leo just took it from there, because one of the things we were mentioning as we were discussing our questions and talking about the book was how everything paired so beautifully. Like it matched and it flowed so well. And our next question then just talks about, like, how do you create the visual narratives and the characters in your work? Are they a reflection of your surroundings and experiences? I think you've mentioned something about that earlier, Jennifer, too. But is there anything else that helped you visualize these characters and write them down?
For someone who just wrote a picture book, I'm a kind of shockingly non-visual writer. For me, it's really always about the story and the rhythm of the words and the messages. And so it in a way, it was just interesting because it came from a not wildly visual place. I knew I wanted, Habit to be an island. And that was partly because it's a fun play on words, the creature of habit, but also because I liked the idea that I think in the themes of change and uncertainty, like, you can control your island, but you can't control what sails up to your island. So we're all trying to kind of like keep our lives and our days and our routines together with tape and glue and whatever we can do. And you can sort of manage that, but there's always things. And I think we all learned that, especially in the last couple of years, that kind of come up out of nowhere. So I liked the metaphor of an island, but other than that, I truly, it could have been a desert island, it could have been a wintry mountain island, it could have been anything, and it's really all the visuals are Leo. I again feel just very lucky.
Well, it's in part is thanks to your story. I mean, it opens up to so many ideas, and pretty much everything that happens in this book is about the experience of going someplace else that goes outside of the characters. When I was working on the big creature, for some reason I thought he should be translucent, the color of the paper, because he's gonna have to be open to these new experiences that the little guy is bringing. The little guy has a personality that's a little bit more defined. He already has his glasses, his hat. He's been to other islands. He knows more things. But I wanted the island to be really lush and kind of intriguing and open to a place that it doesn't look scary, but it definitely piques your interest to going to have an adventure in that place. So that was the whole idea when it came to the characters. And obviously, the story just allowed me to have fun with every page and create the room. And in the room, there's the toothbrushes for the creatures, and because he has this big, gigantic teeth separated with a space in the middle, the toothbrush also has a space in there. Those are little details that I just put because I know children are gonna find them while the parents read the story. So, bunch of fun. A lot of fun.
Oh, good. So now that you mentioned that, are there any like little hidden things, like we know about the orange in the end, and then you're talking about toothbrush, any other things that you hid for kids in the book?
I can't tell. I'm gonna let them find them because
Okay.
Yes.
I have to say one of my favorites actually is that I didn't notice till kind of later on was that there's a moment where it says the big creature kept an eye on the little creature, and you've got him literally like with one eye, keeping one eye on him, which I love.
Exactly. Yes.
It's those little touches that make it really fun and extra special.
Oh, that's great. So are you creatures of habit? Do you have any specific habits that you follow, or a routine, especially being writer and artist, illustrator? How do you have any routine specific, or you're not at all? You just go with the flow?
What about you, Leo?
Creature of habit, definitely. I like not that I have a specific routine when I do my work, but I like to spend a lot of time here in the studio just drawing and doing my little things. That when something comes along and changes the day, is a little bit more challenging for me. I married the little creature pretty much, so that's my marriage experience. Laura is the one that gets me out into adventures, in the middle of the day. Let's go hiking. Let's go and do something else. And it messes up with my routine in the best way possible.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, I'm definitely a creature of habit as well, which is, this is, and the thing about this book is it's not actually advocating that you shouldn't be a creature of habit. There's nothing, again, we can't always control what happens to our world. So it's good to be open-minded about the fact that sometimes, taking a different path or doing something different is a good thing. But, for a lot of people, being a creature of habit is a really, important thing to them. And it does kind of help them function. And so this is supposed to be sort of both a love letter to creatures of habit and also a way to kind of think about how to turn those experiences that jog us out of that, and to think of them in a positive way. But for sure, I'm a creature of habit with my writing, with my routine, the days kind of, but I agree with Leo. I think when you think about, we just are coming, up on a new year right now. And as I was reflecting back on last year, the days you sometimes remember most are the days that you are doing something different from your routine. So I think it is important to go see those sunsets and go look at those stars too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so with the characters and everything, they're so expressive. We were talking about, the one eye. My daughter loved it when the big creature's eye started twitching. And she actually had a note for you, Leo, and she was saying, I wish his eye twitched a little bit more. And I'm like, how? Okay.
We're going to have to animate him.
Yes. That would be wonderful too. And so, we love the expressiveness of them. How do you think you were able to capture them both with, the words and the text coming together? Did you find, was the process fun or, explain, please.
Well,
you go ahead, Leo. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, the expressions, I guess come from me monkeying around because I make faces all the time. I watch cartoons since I was a kid. I devour comics, and it's all in there. Trying to get the desperation that starts building up into the big creature was perhaps the most challenging part. But little by little, there's a detail here and there, and obviously that enormous spread page when everything is absolute madness. It allowed me to play with type, with the color of the background, and his expression and his arms, and he's completely, he lost it. So the build-up was perhaps a little bit challenging because, again, we can't animate an eye being all twitchy. But hopefully I did the best I could there.
She loves it.
Awesome.
And that absolute madness page is such a great example of that was just another line in the book, and the way Leo ended up amplifying it in the art is just so much fun. And it's, I didn't know, because this is my first time doing this, how much you can have it is open to interpretation by the illustrator, and what interesting ways Leo was able to pull out things that I had written that, some of them I intended to be bigger moments or to be, get highlighted, and some of them I got surprised as anybody when I got to see the drawings. So it was really, it truly is such a collaboration in every way, and it was I got the big reveal as well.
It kind of makes you feel like a movie director when you get the script. Yes. And then you have the freedom to just shape the story whichever way you want to, in order to accentuate these things or make pauses for quiet moments. It's all in the pagination, and being able to do that part is one of the most enjoyable sections of doing children's books, definitely.
Thank you so much. That's great. Yeah, we love the little faces, and uh, even the little one, the small creature. He's so expressive as well, even with the little two dots and the little mouth. It was really great to look at their, faces and see their expressions. So I also, we also loved how the very big creature was so welcoming. He was alone in that island, and he has a routine. I probably would have been a little bit more, oh, who's this person coming to disturb my peace? But he saw that, new person, completely different looking, opposite to him, right? And he was so welcoming and made the very small creature feel at home. So I think that beautiful concept, of diversity and inclusivity. It's, you see that in the book, and we love that, because of course it could have been a completely different story. So could you talk more about this?
Yeah, I think I'm so glad, that is the idea is, everybody approaches things differently. Everybody's quite different. I think at the heart of the big creature, he's a little bit lonely. He's been on this island by himself, and he's never had a visitor before. And so, he's so open to, I mean, he's not so open. He's got his routine, but he's so excited to have somebody to show off his routine to, that I wanted it to, I wanted it to all feel very big hearted and friendly. And, when you talk about the inspiration for the book, but part of it comes from, until the pandemic, when I moved, I for the last decade or so have taught therapeutic horseback riding to kids with disabilities. And I thought of a lot of the kids I had worked with so often when I was writing the story, because for a lot of them, routine truly is the thing that kind of keeps them going. And it is, but I also was thinking just of the kind of like, willingness to the excitement and willingness to try new things, like horseback, and to try to read new books, to learn about different things. And there's just an openness, even in spite of routine, that I was hoping to kind of capture with that big creature. And I think I'm glad it comes across that way. And then the little guy too, he's like sort of down to just hang and do the thing. And then he gets a little tired of the routine after a little bit, because it's not his way, but he's also not forcing the big creature to do his thing. Like, they're all just coexisting and doing the best they can and learning from each other. And it's sort of an idyllic little island in that way. And the two of them, can represent a lot of different things.
And it feels, when I first read it, the first thing that came to mind is that is a very kid-like attitude. Somebody comes into the to the playground, and whoever is sitting, making sandcastles, immediately brings the cube to the kid that just shows up. It's a much more open and welcoming attitude, and you see it in kids, and we learn from them. So
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I love how the creatures also were so aware of their surroundings, and they're so friendly, saying hello to the fishes and to the stars. The very big creature was mostly focused on what was, just in front of him, and the small one was also not focused on anything, not necessarily obvious, right? Could you talk more about that? How both perspectives played a role?
Yeah, I think that, sometimes when you are a creature of habit and you're a routine oriented person, you can get really focused on literally what is right in front of you. And you're just kind of like keeping your eyes on the road, getting through things. And I liked the idea that the big creature had his routine in terms of who he says hello to and what he says hello to the point where it never occurred to him. There's other things in his habitat that it would never have occurred to him to greet, until the little guy came. So I wanted, specifically, like, the one that comes to mind the most is the clouds, because it's this idea that's so rooted for so many of us, which is to stop and look up every once in a while, to literally, we live in a world where we're doing the same thing every day. We're looking at our phones, you miss a lot. And so I liked the idea that the kind of first thing that deviated from that was to say hello to the clouds.
yeah, I love that too. It shows his appreciation for nature, but also I think he's about experiences. he has something deeper going on. Like he likes the things that are around the island and the routine, and where he just, the new games that he just learned, and diets and everything else he just learned from his new friend. But he has something else to do. He looks at the window at night when they're both lying down in bed, because the next day is going to bring a new adventure, and he's that adventure seeker kind of creature, kind of a person. And it's awesome to see that too, because many kids are also like that.
Yeah,
That's cute. We think the book has it has a happy ending. It does. And the very big creature, he embraced change, and that change made him happy, although he didn't know, right? Uh, so, what would you say to kids who are watching us and who may be dealing with new schedules or new routines or change in their life?
yeah. It would. Honestly, as a creature of habit myself, routine can be a really wonderful thing. And when something outside of your little island of kind of certainty it comes up or sails up in the case of the book, it can be really disorienting. And I think again that the one thing to hold on to is to really think that sometimes the things that are most memorable and that shape you and change you the most, and that often turn out to be unexpectedly great experiences that can feel scary at first, but then can be wonderful, start as things that are different from the things and and it's not to say everything that is different is going to be a good thing, but it's just about being sort of open to the possibility. And I think that, as somebody who also just moved recently, like if you have had a big change in your life, you can get, there is something about a new routine. By the end of this book, I would like to think that the creature of habit is still going to be eating his pineapples and bananas, but maybe every once in a while he'll have an orange, and maybe he will now, instead of going right to bed and brushing his teeth at the end of the night, maybe he'll go and look at the sunset before he does that. And so I think routines, schedules, things are always shifting in big ways and small, and it's just important to remember that it's not a bad thing if routine helps you, but we can't always control everything, and that uncertainty is not always a bad thing. It can sometimes be exciting or new.
Yeah, I agree with all that, absolutely. And also trust your heart when new things come your way, and you feel a little bit intrigued about him, and you want to try him out. You see that the big creature takes his time. He sits down, he stands up again, he sits down, he doesn't know what to do. He finally decides to follow the little creature. He wasn't that sure in the beginning, but I think something inside his heart told him it was okay to go and do it. So follow what your heart tells you.
Yes, he's never going to be the kind of creature who, jumps off a high ledge or does anything probably too wild. But for him, he's doing the things in his own time at his own pace, and he's trusting his very, very big heart.
Yes.
So trusting your heart, is that why he found that very special rock or that special treasure?
I love that's one of my favorite illustrations in the whole book. Him smiling at that heart.
I'm glad you noticed that. Yeah, I think so. I mean, anything that you would find that is special to you in this case was that heart-shaped rock for him was something that is allowing him to open up and probably be more into doing things with the little creature in the future. Yeah, symbols too.
That's beautiful. Oh my gosh, so beautiful. Now let's talk about small creature. We love how nimble and how lightly he is and how he travels. His recycled paper hat boat. Well, let me back up. So his paper boat turned into a hat. Can you tell us more about that? That was genius for us. Like we thought, wow, upcycle.
Right? Well, I when I was a kid, many years ago, I remember being fascinated by origami and folding paper and turn it into very different things. And I clearly remember how fascinated I was when I saw a friend of mine made a boat. He made a boat, but he just folded the tips down and used it as a hat and took off running. Um, and I thought that was fascinating. So for some reason, that came back to my mind when I was working on the little creature. And yeah, I think trying to in what I said before, trying to streamline the elements that go into the story to make the story and the place and the characters a little bit larger. Um, Taking advantage of elements like this that can transform instead of leaving a boat abandoned in this beautiful island, because who wants to destroy a place like that? So he takes his hat and turns it into something else. So there's the designer inside of me. The industrial designer was the one that did that part, and I think it works. I think it works for his character and also works for the island, because we gotta take care of our big enormous round island to have adventures in it.
That's great. We love the hat. He's a perfect traveler, travels
Yeah,
slightly.
everything goes in there.
Yes, yes, yes. So, how did the pandemic and quarantining, how all this has changed your writing, your illustrating habits, or your space?
Jennifer?
Well, I think, first of all, just with this book itself, the pandemic has, to me, made it feel so much more. I started writing it long before the pandemic, and it's just felt even more relevant in a way, unfortunately, because we've all gotten knocked a little off course and have all had to kind of create and find new habits and roll with changes and learn new things. But, in terms of my writing, I've moved a few, like twice actually during the pandemic. So I keep having to create new habits. But it's been really, I think for writers, it's in some ways it's been helpful because we you do spend, first of all, we were already kind of equipped to be working from home and working alone, and so it's actually in some ways been helpful to have, as Leo was saying, like that quiet time, to have long conversations, to have long things, to take walks, to imagine, to dream, to it's been so hard and so horrible for so many and in so many ways, and it's been hard here too, but it's also creatively, I think it's been a really interesting time. And for me, I've really taken the little creature to heart, and it's been a time of trying new things in my writing. I'd written almost all YA novels before, and to be writing picture books, I'm writing screenplays. I'm my first novel for grown-ups coming out next month, and it's been really fun to do new things. So I think it's given me some time and space to do that.
I think for me, oh wow, my studio got really dark. I'm looking at my background. It looks like I live in a cave. In a way, yeah. Things didn't change that much in terms of work. Actually, I ended up working on more books than ever because then I don't know. It just happened like that. And I feel like I've been preparing for the pandemic when it comes to work for like 20 years. I've been practicing because we illustrators, we work independently. We're usually alone during the day, and that didn't change much during the pandemic. It affected me probably, emotionally, and I ended up watching the news much more simply because I was very sad and very stressed out about the situation of many people that didn't have the luxury of being at home drawing picture books like myself. But in terms of my work, the routine has always been the same. Perfect for a creature of habit.
Thank you.
Thank you. So then, can you tell us what you're reading now or what is on your must-read list?
I just finished Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead, which is I just loved. I just finished Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. I've been, I think at the beginning of my reading habits actually changed during the pandemic, where I wasn't reading quite as much as I had. And I think same as Leo, I was just so upset about everything and watching the news so much that it kind of supplanted reading for a little while. And I've really like anything, you like any habit, you sort of have to cultivate it. And I had never had to, but then I have over the last 6 months or so, and I'm back into a good routine of reading, and it's just been so joyful to be doing that. So I'm just always have a couple things going, and those are a couple that I've read recently that I really love. I just started the Thursday Murder Club. What is that book? I can't remember what it's called, but it's the one that's been out. There's just, I'm trying to read everything right now, basically.
And I've been reading this wonderful book called The Creature. Just kidding. I'm reading The World's Fastest Man, which is the story of Major Marshall Taylor, the first African-American sports hero, America's first Black sports hero. He was really big at the end of the 19th century, beginning of the 20th century, and his life and his journey is fascinating. And I'm a cyclist myself, so he's quite inspiring.
Oh, that's great. So check the library's catalog to get those books, and thank you for the recommendations. So how was the transition in your case, Jennifer, from writing for young adult and an older audience to writing books for children? And Leo, what is the difference from working as an illustrator, for magazines to working with children's books? What's difference like?
Leo, do you want to go?
Yeah, thank you. It is a complete different beast. Working for magazines, you get assignments with really quick turnarounds. You do a lot of concepts as fast as you can, and try to deliver on time, which is usually the timelines. The time frame is super tight, and it's challenging because it always makes you think about the concept of the most important part of the text that you're reading and how you can interpret it to complement the story. And I love working on that, but I think my heart is with children's books. As we said before, it's a much longer process. It involves a lot of work, because it's not just one illustration that you do for a magazine. Here you have to do one wonderful piece and then repeat it 38 more times, 48 more times. And that is challenging, but knowing that the work I do goes out to children and that helps them cope with whatever they're going through, or expands their minds, or makes them curious about things, or becomes what's important about their childhood, there's definitely nothing like it, and I would not change it. So I think that's what I like to do the best.
Yeah, it's just been joyful, honestly, to write for this age group. And I think there's a real misconception that writing a picture book is easier because it's shorter, and it's not. It's like writing a poem. The kind of impact and efficiency that you have to accomplish with each line. And I loved figuring out. I loved the process. I loved watching it come to life. And now it's so much fun to get to. I mean, I have always loved speaking to teens, and I will continue to do that. I love it. But this morning I did a virtual school visit with a second grade class, and they, when it's time for the Q&A, the questions are all like, what did you eat for breakfast? And, why, it's adorable. And, as Leo said, my nephews are 4 and 6. I've read so many picture books with them over the years. They're so, you see the impact they have on kids. You see what they mean to them, and how they prompt questions and change their viewpoints. And since this book has come out, to hear stories of, kids who are walking around their house saying hello fish, or wanting to try something new for breakfast for the first time in years. And it's just a privilege, and it's joyful and delightful and just adorable. And I loved it so much, and I'm excited to do another.
We look forward to that. Which brings us to our final question. What is your next project, if you can share what you're working on now or what will be coming out next?
Well, I'm working on a sequel to The Creature of Habit, which is really fun and exciting.
What?
News to everybody. No, it's really fun to get to revisit these two little creatures again. So that's really fun. And then I have my first novel for adults called The Unsinkable Greta James, comes out on March 1st. So I'm gearing up for that. And just, looking forward to, I have 2 movies coming out this year based on my YA novels. So it's just a really exciting time and fun to kind of be doing things in different areas. But honestly, this collaboration and this book has been just truly a highlight. It's been so much fun. So I'm excited to do another.
Me too. I can't wait for your story to be done so I can do my part. And besides that, I'm working on other children's books, but unfortunately, I cannot tell you anything about it right now. Top secret.
Well, we look forward to both of them and, all your future work coming out. So thank you for that. We're going to go into our rapid fire questions now, or this and that, or this or that. So this is just a fun way for us to learn a little bit more about you. So don't think too hard about the question. Just answer, follow your heart. Right?
Okay.
Okay. So we'll begin. This or that, flowers or plants?
Plants.
I was flowers before I moved to California, and now plants, succulents.
Okay. This or that, pizza or tacos?
Maybe same answer. I was maybe pizza in New York and tacos in LA.
I say tacos.
Okay, this or that, coffee or tea?
Coffee. Oh, tea. I'm from Colombia. I can't go for tea. It's impossible.
This or that, oranges or pineapples?
I'm going to go oranges. I'm going to go little creature on this one.
Yeah, oranges.
What's your favorite snack?
Favorite? Sorry, I couldn't hear it.
Oh, favorite snack. What's your favorite snack?
Tacos.
What about you, Jennifer?
I'm going to say guac and chips, so we could have a good meal together.
And I'll be joining you for sure. Yes.
And so another rapid fire question. Favorite mood booster song?
I'm going to go with, probably because I was listening to it this morning, Starman by David Bowie.
Wow. I would go with Starman by David Bowie.
Good answer.
Any other David Bowie song?
Nice. Okay, back to this and that. Mountains or islands?
Mountains.
Nice.
Sorry, creatures.
Sorry, creatures. And how about this? What is your favorite picture book?
Don't tell me it's Creature of Habit. You don't have to answer. It's okay.
Mine is actually one of my very favorites that I always recommend everybody is Sparky by Jenny Offal. I don't know if you've ever read it. It's about a girl who gets a pet sloth, and the end is so poignant. It makes me tear up every time, but it's just an adorable book that not enough people have read, and I love it.
And I'm going on System Overload right now. I have so many in my mind that I cannot decide. There's so many good children's books from a long time ago and new ones that it's just impossible to choose one. Truly impossible.
What's the first one that comes to your head then? Comes to mind?
Jennifer, you're putting Leo in a very hard
I
position.
know. I know.
I want the
Okay,
recommendations.
Creature of habit. Creature of
Creature of
habit.
habit. All right,
I
got
would
it.
He's gonna
say,
give
let's
you.
see.
He's gonna give you the standard
Leo's-
response. I'll get back to you with that.
Yes. He's going to the shelf.
Oh, that's so
Oh.
cool. You have
That's so
a,
cool.
You
your
have to
own
just
library.
close your eyes and pick the first one off the shelf, and then that's your answer.
Yeah, or just
Yeah,
It's book roulette. Yeah.
I pick randomly. It's Johnny Appleseed.
nice.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, so what's your favorite color?
Lavender.
I love them all. It's like children's books. I can't decide. Maybe
Okay, I won't make
green.
you decide. Green? Like your
Two
glasses.
green the glasses, yeah.
There you go.
So, this or that, are you an early riser or do you sleep in?
Early riser.
Early riser.
And quick rapid fire question, what's your favorite word?
Malarkey.
That is a fun word.
Bicycle.
And creature of habit, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you. That was
It
so much fun.
was a requirement to work on this book. You had to find an illustrator who was also a creature of habit.
Number one question. Is he a creature of habit? Jennifer, I have to tell you before we take a few questions from from our viewers now. Some of them you have already answered, so we won't bring them up screen. So someone was asking what you guys working on. We already asked that. But I really like the book display behind you. You
Thank
wouldn't
you.
be a good librarian though, but for house decoration, because I'm looking
Terribly,
for a
terribly,
yellow
it's
book.
not alphabetical. It's a librarian's nightmare. I had a friend once who walked into my office and looked at that and goes, "Is your bookshelf Roy G. Biv?" And it is, but it's very happy making.
It's lovely. I love it. It's beautiful. Leo, are your books cataloged and organized by a certain way?
No, not at all.
How
No.
do you find them?
I more or less know where they are because I go. It's like my Google search back here, and I go there all the time to find reference and read. So I know where each one of them is,
That's cute. That's
more
nice.
or less.
I have both libraries are adorable. So we have we have people saying like they love the lavender, they love the green from your glasses. So thank you for commenting. Andy is really excited about the sequel. And Juanita has a question. How do you go about choosing your color palette?
I guess the story usually dictates what I'm working with in terms of colors. If I'm doing something that it's a historic book or something that takes place in some decades ago, then I turn to go to the browns and colors that make you feel like you're already reading something older. With the creature of habit, I just want it bright and fun and limited. Usually just choose certain amount of colors and stretch them as much as you can and work with that. Otherwise, things go a little bit too all over the place.
That's great. We also have a question from Juanita, and she wants to know what cartoons did you watch growing up and how they have influenced your work.
My favorite cartoon was the Pink Panther. I love how abstract it was in so many ways with the themes and with the artwork. Watched a lot of Looney Tunes when I was little. Then later on, I got into, let's see, I love Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. I loved Samurai Jack. So many.
That's great. Jennifer, do you watch cartoons?
I did. I don't know as much anymore, but as a kid, I was very into Looney Tunes as well, and I was into Garfield and Peanuts and all of the kind of classics.
That's great. So some of the questions we have, thank you for everyone who sent questions. They wanted to know what you're working on next, if you're a creature of habits, and they already know that you are. Some people were like so excited about the collaboration, like Karen. So great collaboration. So thank you for your interaction. So if is there anything else you would like to share with us, Jennifer and Leo, about the book, about anything else?
We can't wait for being able to events live and come down to the library and read the book there and actually be surrounded by kids. That would be pretty terrific. And parents and families. Yeah. I miss that a lot.
I miss that so much too. And, it's so lovely that we're able to do it this way at least, but it will be so nice when we can all be in person again. And as a new LA resident, I just want to say thank you. It's such a thrill to get to do an event with the Los Angeles Public Library. I've been, as all of us, writers and book nerds and people are, I have been, such a have such a love for libraries and have since I was little. And it's many exciting things about moving to a new place, but the library is definitely high on the list. So it's exciting to get to do an event with you.
Thank you. We are super thrilled that you've been here with us. You know that the Los Angeles Public Library and our 72 libraries in the Central Library are always open for you. Jennifer San Angelino, Leo as part of our family with Los Angeles Libros Festival. And actually, talking about Los Angeles Libros Festival, we're planning to return in 2022. Hopefully in person. We don't know yet, but it is the last weekend, the last Saturday in September. So mark your calendars. Maybe Jennifer and Leo will be here with us. We'll see. Jennifer, would you like to say anything else?
Oh,
Jennifer Librarian. Yeah, Jennifer Librarian.
Again, always Jennifer's.
Yes.
An abundance of Jennifers. I'm with you.
An abundance of Jennifers.
No, I just want to say thank you. And, this is such a pleasure meeting you both. And, I'm a fan of your YA books too. I'm a former young adult librarian, so I was thrilled to see you venturing into the children's realm because I do have children, so like young children. So it was just, that's how I bridge it. And, Leo, it's amazing. And again, the collaboration was just so phenomenal. And this chat was just so phenomenal. So thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Also, thank you all for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed this conversation with author Jennifer E. Smith and illustrator Leo Espinosa. Remember to visit the library's website, lapl.org, to read more books written by Jennifer or illustrated by Leo. Please join us for our next Your Author program on Friday, January 28th at 4 p.m. with Lori Snyder. They will be sharing their latest book, The Circus at the End of the Sea, and copies of the book will be available as an opportunity drawing. So until next time, we truly appreciate your support, and the success of all our programs could not happen without viewers like you. So thank you, and we see you soon. Thank you again, Jennifer and Leo.
Thank you.